Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. It's Tuesday, August 25th. We've got your top headlines for you from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Thank you for joining us to learn about everything that's impacting you here in Northeast Ohio. First up, we'll start with what LeBron James is saying about video that shows the shooting of a black man, Jacob Blake, at the hands of officers who appear to be white in Kenosha, Wisconsin. We'll let you know what LeBron James said about that yesterday evening. We've also got the updated numbers in from the Ohio Department of Health related to COVID-19 here in Ohio. We'll let you know what Governor Gov DeWine is saying about impeachment articles that have been drafted by fellow Republicans of his in the Ohio House. Also, what he's saying about that spectator policy when it comes to high school athletics. And we will end things on a sweet note for you, letting you know the 15 best places to get ice cream in the Cleveland area as we wind down the last weeks of summer. First up, we will talk about what LeBron James had to say about the shooting of Jacob Blake. Video came out yesterday of the shooting of Jacob Blake, who is a black man in Kenosha, Wisconsin. The video showed him being shot by police officers who appeared to be white. It was as he was getting ready to get into an SUV with his 3 children in the vehicle. This was during a confrontation on Sunday night. So LeBron James on Monday, after the Los Angeles Lakers beat the Portland Trail Blazers in the NBA playoffs, while talking to the media, LeBron James said that black people are scared right now in America. Here's what James said. I know people get tired of hearing me say it, but we are scared as black people in America. Black men, black women, black kids, we are terrified. James went on to say, if you're sitting here telling me that there was no way to subdue that gentleman or detain him or before the firing of guns, then you're sitting here, you're lying to not only me, you're lying to every African American, every black person in the community, because we see it over and over and over. Jacob Blake's father said that he was left paralyzed from the waist down after being shot what appears to be 7 times in the back, and he is still in the hospital right now. Blake is in stable condition in an intensive care unit. That's according to attorney Ben Crump, who is representing the family. The man who recorded the video of the incident where Blake is shown being shot by police is Rayshawn White, and he lives near where that shooting happened. He told CNN that the 2 men had never spoke, but he often sees Blake's children playing outside and that Blake was actually there to break up a confrontation after officers were called to a domestic incident just after 5 p.m. on Sunday. Here's what Rayshawn White said. He said, the police want everybody to know they're out here to protect and serve, but they're constantly giving black people in particular reasons to not let them protect and serve. White said, we don't want you guys around because we are scared for our lives. You come to an incident to disarm an argument and this black man gets shot. It wasn't supposed to go down like that. 2 officers that are believed to have shot Blake are now placed on administrative leave, and the Kenosha police have actually asked the Wisconsin Division of Criminal Investigation, which is part of the state's Department of Justice, to take over the investigation into the shooting. Those findings will then go to the district attorney in the area, Michael Gravely, and his office will determine whether to bring charges against those officers. Gravely did say that the investigation is in its early stages. Of course, as we have more information about Blake's condition in the hospital, we'll be sure to bring that to all of you, and you can check for the latest updates on WKYC.com and in our WKYC app. We now have the latest numbers in from the Ohio Department of Health related to COVID-19. New hospitalizations are up, but active hospitalizations are down. So apparently we're seeing a lot of patients who have been discharged in the last 24 hours. So that's positive. Not necessarily great that we're seeing the new hospitalizations, but that people are being discharged. New cases in the last 24 hours reported are just barely down, and new deaths in the last 24 hours are up just a bit. The total number of cases reported in the last 24 hours was 844, down slightly from 849 yesterday. Now, the Ohio Department of Health reports the number of presumed recovered cases, which is near 97,000. So if you flip that number on its head, we know that we have close to 20,000 active COVID-19 cases. That's out of the total number of COVID-19 cases, which is about 116,500 that we know have occurred here in the state of Ohio, dating back to March 9th. Our current positivity rating for tests, meaning for all the COVID-19 tests that are being done, about 4.1% of them are coming back positive right now. And in the last 24 hours, there have been 10 new COVID-19 deaths reported, bringing the total number of deaths that we've seen here in Ohio to now 3,996. There have been 97 new hospitalizations reported in the last 24 hours, and that brings the number of people who are currently hospitalized right now to 783. That's down from yesterday. We've been seeing this number decreasing, which is a positive thing. Of the 783 people who are currently hospitalized, 250 of them are in the intensive care unit. That's also down from yesterday. Also another good thing. It's about, so we're looking at still somewhere between a third of the people who are in the ICU who are hospitalized. There have been 10 new ICU admissions reported in the last 24 hours. And if you look at the hospital bed occupancy rate, it is at 71%. So that means that 29% of the hospital beds in the state are available for anyone who would need treatment, whether that's for COVID-19 or anything else. Let's take a look at the national and the global numbers related to COVID-19. These numbers come from Johns Hopkins University. In the U.S., there are now 5,755,002 known cases of COVID-19. That's dating back to when we first learned of it here being in the U.S., and the total number of deaths has now reached 177,773. Globally, there have now been 23,721,008 reported cases of COVID-19, and the total number of deaths globally is now at 840,852. Let's talk about some of the things that Governor Mike DeWine talked about today. Yes, he did address the fact that articles of impeachment have been drafted against him. Today, Governor Mike DeWine said that he tries to be open, that he's trying not to worry about it too much. He said he's much more concerned with getting Ohio and Ohioans through this pandemic and keeping as many people safe and healthy as possible. So these articles were written up by Ohio Republican Representative John Becker. He accuses DeWine of violating both the Ohio and the U.S. constitutions and multiple sections of the Ohio Revised Code with the way that he has handled the COVID-19 pandemic here in Ohio. Governor Mike DeWine, of course, if he were to be impeached, this would have to pass by a majority in the House. It's very similar to the situation that happened when President Donald Trump was impeached. To be impeached of something is to be charged with something. It's not to be found guilty of something. So if the House did decide to move forward and formally impeach Governor Mike DeWine, the Senate would then have to vote to convict him with a 2/3 vote here in Ohio. So that's the process, and that's how it goes. Governor Mike DeWine, again, saying that he was not particularly concerned about that at this time, trying to keep an open mind and just focusing on Ohio. Something else that he talked about is the Spectators policy for fall sports, which he has given his permission to move forward here in the state of Ohio. Of course, what's happening on an individual level at schools is different, but under last week's order, talking about spectators at this event, Governor Mike DeWine did order that the maximum number of spectators at an outdoor event would be either 1,500 people or 15% of the fixed seat capacity at any of those venues, whichever number is smaller. Now, for indoor sports venues, it would be either 300 people or 15% of the fixed seated capacity, again, whichever number is smaller. So DeWine clarified today that the spectator limit is intended to allow at least 2 and perhaps up to 4 family members to attend sports events, provided that the venue is large enough to allow that 6 feet of distance between the groups. Now, there is a variance in the order. It does allow for venues to request a higher spectator limit, and in order to do that, they need to submit a plan to the local health department and the Ohio Department of Health, explain why a different capacity is needed, and how distancing will be taken into control if that is to be allowed. DeWine says, if a school asks for this variance, he wants them to ask themselves 3 questions. Is it needed for home and away family members to attend? Can everyone maintain that 6-foot distance? And can the homeschool prevent the requested number of spectators from congregating? Here's an important distinction that DeWine made today. The variance is not to be used to expand the number of fans beyond family members of both teams, the home band, and others who may be performing during the event. So this variance is not intended to allow general fans to attend these events. It is to be limited to family members and people who are performing at that particular event. Now, after all that, we're going to end things on a sweet note for you here. It is just a couple of weeks left in summer. Of course, hopefully we'll have some warm weather even going into fall, but we do have a couple of weeks left in summer. So our WKYC contributor, Laura DeMarco, has put together a guide for sweet treats where you need to go in the greater Cleveland area while we have a couple months left of summer formally in Northeast Ohio. I'll share just a couple of them with you. This is near and dear to my heart because I've sort of been on a quarantine ice cream tour, which if you follow me on social media, you have seen that. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at _Stephanie Haney. That's where you can find out the ice cream that I've been checking out. Here are some of Laura's recommendations. Rosso Gelato, which is new in Little Italy on Mayfield Road. She took her 13-year-old daughter there, and she said she was concerned or wondering why her daughter was on her phone and not eating her chocolate hazelnut gelato. And her daughter said, I have to text Uncle Louie. And then she explained, I finally found gelato as good as in Italy. Apparently Uncle Louie is her gelato eating buddy. So that's a pretty high recommendation for Rosso Gelato in Little Italy. Gelato as good as they have it in actual Italy. Another recommendation is Zero Zest in Parma. It's an old school soft serve stand, but now they have hard serve ice creams, sundaes, and even vegan ice cream. And they are still serving up some of the best soft serve in town. And they even have those dip tops and crunch coats. So Zero Zest in Parma, another great one to check out this season. And the last that we'll mention today, Mason's Creamery. This is tucked back in off of the main drag in Ohio City. It's a great little walk if you're in the downtown area, or a bike ride or a scooter ride. And they have lots of unique things. I went there recently and I tried their ube ice cream. You may be wondering what ube is. I asked them and I found out that it is a vanilla marshmallowy treat. It is made from Japanese purple yam. It is a plant-based ice cream, and it is delicious. I had that topped off with Captain Crunch flavored ice cream and a little bit of Captain Crunch topping on top of that. It was delicious. You can find a picture of it on my Twitter page and my Instagram page. That's _Stephanie Haney. That's it for your 3 News Now afternoon update for Tuesday, August 25th. For more of those sweet treats, go to WKYC.com and the WKYC app. I'll see you next on What's New with your trending stories. We'll be talking about reaction to First Lady Melania Trump renovating the Rose Garden, and also more ice cream treats for you. And then I'll see you back here tomorrow on 3 News Now. Everyone enjoy your afternoon. Stream What's New live in the WKYC app. Go ahead and download that if you don't already have it. And I'll see you back tomorrow. I'm Stephanie Haney.